Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope everybody had a great trading day yesterday. We had a little bit of a hiccup, and by hiccup, it means that I had friends over. So I didn't get the recording up last night, so I figured I'd get one in this morning. So for those of you that are brand new to the channel, welcome. Glad you're able to make it in. What we do every day is look at the same 10 to 12 futures markets, taking a look at the markets from a technical perspective, trying to find potential breakout trades and turning points. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Most important thing to remember is that we leave the lines on the charts so that you can see the accountability as we move through the levels. So taking a look at the S&P. So yesterday we had an entry, or excuse me, 2 days ago we had the entry that gave us this little tiny short right through here. I think I talked a little bit about it, that it was a confirmation style of an entry. So we got a little bit of a move off of that short. It came right to the opposing fair price value area and then moved away. So those of you that took that short got a little bit of a ride. We're coming into this short right here. Now this one is no longer going to be a candidate for us as a strong opportunity, primarily because take a look at the way it came into the area. See how it just started chopping along, doing nothing? So I am not a fan of this level at the moment. Some of you may still be able to short it kind of coming down out of here. I don't like this one. The way we get to a potential reversal point is very important, and I don't like the way that we arrived at this one. So I'm going to take this off as a potential opportunity. I don't think that it gives me as good of a shot. Matter of fact, I'd be okay if somebody took a breakout long kind of above this 2761 area, because then I think there's room to run back up to 2800 overall. Taking a look at the Nasdaq. So let's go take a look at the Nasdaq. We are also in this area here in the Nasdaq. Once again, same kind of setup, kind of getting there with not a lot of oomph, if you will. So this one, if you have a preset trade on this, and you wake up this morning and you're already in this trade, I'd be pretty close to taking stops, taking my profits. If anything, if it dips out of here a little bit, I don't see this working out truly all that well. Primarily because, once again, that arrival, that whole going sideways just before entry is really a strong indicator that it's a fairly weak area and fairly weak zone for opportunity. As far as the Nasdaq goes, you may be able to find, if we do get a little pullback from here, there's going to be possibly some entry right here at this 15-minute area, where we kind of ended the day yesterday. I actually like this area down here as well, so I'm going to highlight that area. I feel like that's a pretty good little potential spot. I'll go down to the bottom. So I'm going to the bottom of the wick on this 10-15 candle. Now remember that if I'm going to do this in a 15-minute chart, I always go to a smaller time frame color, signifying that there's slightly lower probability on those smaller time frames, just simply because we have less order inventory in those periods. Crude oil. So here we had a breakout long in crude, and those of you that took the breakout long in crude, you're probably still pretty happy as it's kind of continuing its march higher. As I can see, I think we may have another potential for another breakout long in crude, as crude's starting to, on the hourly chart, show a little bit of that strength. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and one of the things that he'd called me and talked about a short in crude, and I said, well, there's not a whole lot that I love on the hourly chart for a short in crude, and this is why. Every single one of these other prior reversal points had already been touched. Now, we got this little move down through here, which was a pretty good little move down, but then has boom popped right back up from there. Use this again, and really gives you almost clean air for price to continue to rally up to about 63. So there's room, I think, for it to run to 63 eventually. Looking at gold, we can see we are sitting right near this top up in here. Unfortunately, this is where it stinks that I wasn't able to get the video in yesterday. We had a really nice entry on this little reversal point right here from this fair price value area. A little bit of basing, popped up, came back, retested, boom, we got the move. So I'm going to put a little bit of an area right here. This is a really small area. that is a potential reversal location. You know, fairly small amount of risk on this, and pretty close to current price. So not super sure about it, but I believe that if we break down to it and go up, then there's going to be a lot of running room from there. Next, let's take a look at our bonds. So bonds are continuing their price drop. You know, that continuation of a price drop is not surprising. You know, we do have this area, this line that I'm going to put right here, which was old support, kind of becoming new resistance, that it very well could be. So this line right here, old support, new resistance. If we get, you know, I'm gonna put this as my breakdown point. So let's call this right here. So here would be our, if we break below this point right here, then this to me seems like it would be a pretty good short entry. I thought I had those changed to blue. I guess I must have changed those properties. Hold on one moment. Let me save this to my default. All right. Typically, I like to have my price level lines set as blue. There we go. Okay, so this would be a breakout to the downside because this is acting as resistance up above us. And so if we get short below this area here, there's plenty of room for this thing to continue to run. The Aussie, we have gotten a little move on the Aussie position. So our Aussie short, that we've been waiting on for a number of days, is starting to come down. So with that Aussie trade kind of coming down, not a great arrival into this one, so you may not have taken it. You know, based upon your risk tolerances. This one, once again, chopped sideways before going into it. Didn't have that, you know, 9 candles in a row of sideways, but it's popped sideways before coming into it, but it is starting to roll over. You're very close to your first profit objective on this. Remember, our profit objective is going to be the first fair price value area opposite entry. The Canadian dollar, so we got our breakout long on the Canadian. It's continuing its run higher, so nothing really to change on that one. And then as far as the euro goes, we still have that euro level way down here. I think that our next euro area is somewhere in this range, and it would be this area right here for a pretty good, decent entry on a long. Last but certainly not least, let's take a look at the Great British Pound and the Japanese Yen. So the Great British Pound, we had a trade set up in it as price came up into it, and it failed miserably. And sometimes, once again, that's just going to happen. C'est la vie, right? C'est la vie. So I'm going to take that one off. I do see that this was a pretty strong move down in the pound. So what I'm going to do is take a look at this on a smaller time period, and I think that we could get a little bit of a run down into this range here. Yeah, I think there's room for price to run all the way to here based on where we are right now. So if you're a breakout trader, I think there's a good entry. I think that there's also some pretty good short opportunities up here. I just don't know if we're going to get there. So keep that one in mind on the pound. Japanese yen, we had a breakout long, and that is continuing its run up on the breakout. So a couple of breakout trades that were pretty effective that are continuing their march higher, although I would take and move the stop, maybe adjust it up underneath one of these pivot lows so that you can lock in some of those profits. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a great trading day today. Be aware, I think there's a chance we'll get a little bit of a pullback today, as it's we've had a number of, as my friend Eric calls it, the face-ripping rally, as we've rallied back up. I think there's a good chance that we will see some profit taking towards the end of the day today. So just keep that in mind as you're heading into the weekend, and just always be aware of holding futures positions, especially over a weekend. So I'll be back this weekend for probably Sunday night with the weekend edition, a little bit bigger time time period. Until next week, thanks so much, everybody. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Later.